I can see you standing, honey, with his arms around your body, laughing but the joke's not funny at all. And it took you 5 whole minutes to back us up and leave me with it, holding all this love out here in the hall. I think I've seen this film before, and I didn't like the ending. You're not my homeland anymore, so what am I defending now? You were my town, now I'm in exile, seeing you out. I think I've seen this film before. I can see you staring, honey, like he's just second, third, and 100th chances, balancing on broken branches. Those eyes add insult to injury.
So today the first book that I'm going to talk about is 10 Things I Hate About Pinky by Sandhya Menon. This is the last book in the Dimpleverse series, and it is an incredibly sweet summer romance with a lake house, a possum, and a fire. This one is An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. It is a fantasy written by a Muslim immigrant, British American, Pakistani writer, and I think it's one of the best fantasy books I've ever read, and I highly, highly recommend reading it or rereading it as I'm rereading it right now. And you can also join the Penguin Teen Read Along if you do decide to read this as well. One of the fun facts is that it's actually based off of events that happened in Kashmir, and if you want to know more about that, I'll link some information in the description box below. The next book is A Very Large Expanse of Sea, and this book is by Tahira Mafi. So as I've mentioned in previous videos, this book was actually gifted to me through an Instagram giveaway, and it's called It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. And I've been dying to read this book. I've heard a lot of amazing things about it, just haven't gotten around to it yet. Once I finish the books I'm currently reading, I will be reading this as well. So this next book is a little bit daunting, but I've heard a lot of great things about it. That's Six of Crows. You've seen it on my TBR pile before. It's still on my TBR pile, but you'll be proud of me. I finally got around to watching Avatar: The Last Airbender, so that is why this was delayed. So this next book is The Infernal Devices, and this is the first. I've actually read this one before, but I'm doing a reread of this, and it's honestly so good. I missed certain things the first time I read this, so it would be nice to go back and see other things that I might have missed or overlooked. So I have not read Red, White, and Blue yet. Red, White, and Royal Blue, but I've heard a lot of great things about it. I'm looking forward to seeing if it lives up to the hype or if it's just one of those books that is not for me. This next book is called Textrovert, and I've actually read this at least 3 times, and it's a really cute summer romance book. It takes place between these 2 teenagers who have swapped phones by mistake, and so one of them is trying to get their phone back, and the other one is being very difficult. And so the storyline is basically, can you fall in love with someone you've never met and that you've only connected with through text? So here's one of the books that I've read recently, like maybe a few months ago, It's Dear Martin by Nick Stone. And it's a really short book, but I highly recommend reading it. I actually talk more about it on my podcast episode, and that should be out sometime, I want to say September 29th, but I will let you know in the comments below or in the description box. So as you can see, the other book is Saints and Misfits, Love from A to Z. A few reference books, Calvin and Hobbes and Huron High School Host Club, Volume 1. Then down here is the Chronicles of Narnia companion book, a few magazines, an issue of, I think, Spider-Man and some other things, as well as The Hunger Games, The Hate You Give, The Mortal Instruments, Clockwork Angel. I have another edition. This was something I wanted to give away. This is a section dedicated to Meg Cabot. I really loved her when I was younger, and I loved her books, so I have a lot of this series. And then another favorite series was the Beacon Street Girls series, so I have some of them here was gifted from a friend. And then I have a few arcs that I received when I was at WatCon, and this is The Heartbreakers and My Life with the Walter Boys by Ali Novak, or Ali Novak, I hope I pronounced that right. And then this is Torment by Lauren Kate. I know a lot of people didn't like the Fallen series. I really liked it, and honestly, I think at this point you should let people read what they want to read, and that shouldn't be an issue. So down here I have an adult coloring book, knitting stuff. These three are actually my own books. So this was one of the first middle grade books I've ever written, called Graveyard Secrets. It's a really old book, but I'm proud of what I wrote because for the age that I wrote it, it was actually pretty decent. And then these two are duology, and they're about teens in high school tackling life, as well as grief, loss, romance, giving people second chances, forgiveness, and everything changes. Basically, the kids in Complications are now parents and everything changes, so it's their kid's story, and I loved how this turned out. So now for the next couple ones, these are reference books, and then some old Shakespeare stuff, as well as a Jodi Picoult book, The Pact. These are the other two books in the series, Dark Flame, A Thousand Splendid Suns, The Novice, Love Creekwood, The Famous Five, Archie Comics, Not So Pure and Simple, Summer Only We Know by Maureen Go, which you've probably heard me talk about it a million times. What About Taipei? Again, you've heard me talk about this book so many times. I wanted this as a giveaway, but it's honestly one of my favorite books. And the Infernal Devices trilogy. So the next one is the Gallagher Girls series. I think it's great for anyone who is a fan of House of Anubis. And this is by Ali Carter. Please ignore the sounds upstairs if you hear them. This is the Agatha Christie Miss Marple's collection. One of the random series of unfortunate events, Divergent, Insurgent. I need to actually give these away. Well, give Insurgent away. I kind of like Divergent. I didn't like this next two are actually arcs that I received. I loved You Say It First. Highly recommend it. Miss Meteor, I still need to read, so I need to get to that. Then there's The Sun Is Also a Star, one of my favorite Nicola Yoon books. Soul Surfer, The Fault in Our Stars, a few Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen's, Charlotte Webb. This next one is Snow Falling, and yes, this is really Jane's book. It looks like this, and you can see the back. So down here I have Anne of Green Gables. I believe this is like a companion to the Hunger Games. Writing references, Pokemon guidebook for a DS game that I used to have. I think I still have this somewhere. And then I have just more writing reference books because I'm also a writer, as usual. Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Another one is Tintin. Some of you may have heard of Tintin, and if you haven't heard of Tintin, I highly recommend reading the comics. It's really popular overseas, and so my cousins were reading it, my family friends were reading it, and then I started reading it. And I have Black Beauty, that's probably my favorite classic after A Midsummer's Night Dream. So Mockingjay, Catching Fire. I need to get The Hunger Games. That's the one that I don't have because I have that on Kindle. I have some of the Gossip Girl book series, and yes, they are an actual book series. I have Really Professional Internet Person by Jen McAllister. Some old notebooks. This is like a really old one. And here's the overview. Alright, thank you so much for watching my bookshelf tour. If you liked this and would like to see a more in-depth review of each book, please let me know. Or if you would like me to do more writing style videos on how I plot out my stories and novels and some of the inspiration that comes to me when I'm writing, then let me know about that as well, and I'll do my best to do a video on that and the different platforms that you can write on.
Anymore. So who am I offending now? You are my crown.